Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Kansas City Bitcoin Cryptocurrency Podcast. This episode that will hopefully be airing sometime in April, maybe March. We'll see. My guests are two people who I met, players that I met in a decentralized application called Upland. And I found one of them on the Upland Action News. Name is Mars, Utah. It's one of the things we have going on here is a lot of pseudonyms that are played in the game or that are had in the game. It kind of cements you into who you are. It becomes your personality, and people just will call you by that name, forgoing your in real life name altogether and calling you by, as my two guests, Mars, Utah and Recourier. So we are talking with them today about an amazing project that they have going on. And what I love about this is it has a blended element of all things that I love right now. They're in my life. It's got crypto, it's got comic books, it's got NFTs, and it's just the entertainment value and having all of this really creative element all packing into one thing. And that's what we'll be talking about today. We're talking about MetaForce and the characters that they come up with and what they're doing, a little bit of background behind them. Recourier, as he states, it is just some random guy on the internet, which I love. He's an Upland contributor for they call the UCN, Upland Contributor Network. The ever-expanding growing world of NFTs that he's a part of. He also does Crypto Uncovered, which is a detailed blogging on crypto. And then, of course, Upland Buy Sell Trade, decentralized application, where, again, I feel like this may not be the case, but he may have two other twin brothers because the guy does like 50 things. So I think they're all working in conjunction and they share one brain. That could be a character in MetaForce. I don't know. It could be. Mars, Utah. He on his profile in Wax, which we're going to talk about Atomic Cups, is an eclectic collection of artists of all mediums, consisting of a curious mixture of street art, fine art, comics, music, and upland adjacent creators, curated by Mars, Utah for Red Planet Inc. I got to tell you, it's true. Eccentric is the exclamation point behind Mars, Utah for this thing. So I'm going to introduce these two, and it is a real pleasure to have you on the show. I am so excited to have you on the show. Again, this is MetaForce, and we're kind of focusing on all things about this comic book world and the creation of the characters that you've done. I owned a comic book store in the 90s, so this is near and dear to my heart. And the thing that I love about this is it's got that Image Comics feel. So, it's the Silvestri, Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane, Keown, Eric Larson. They got together, they bucked the system, and they created something amazing. It was amazing. And so for you guys who have done this, wow, congratulations. Recourier, I'm going to let you take it off the top. Tell everybody at home that's watching what's going on with MetaForce yourself and the project.
So MetaForce, so I got to start off right away and say we have to credit more than just Mars and I. There is 5 of us that are working together to make this happen. And T. Davis and LeftHouse, and then ADK Original, who is not quite as prolific in the Upland metaverse area as us are, at least as personalities, but he's in there too. MetaForce is really it came a little bit out of Upland in that we all met there. And we all were doing kind of our own projects. I have a comics and collectibles store, in theory, when those become available in Upland, and I expanded that to include the Wax universe, and was just doing collectibles and comics and all kinds of stuff. And I have some NFT art that I make myself. And then LeftHouse was doing Upland Action News, and he was putting together clips as NFTs, and he's a producer and director, and he had a bunch of cool stuff. And Mars was doing a whole bunch of cool stuff as well with his properties that were going to be coming up in Upland. So he had OG Signworks and some other stuff. And then T. Davis is well known for his Little Italy project. And Mars and LeftHouse and I, through the contributor network and through talking to each other and having similar interests, just started talking about different things that we wanted to do. And
which I found amazing. I found that really, really amazing, because in Upland, it's not always like you don't always have that synergy between you. And I gotta say, you guys have pulled something together very special, because in these metaverses, you can't just openly trust somebody out it's not like the real world. So for you guys who have done that is pretty special. And I do want to do something really quick. I want to spotlight Mars, because anybody who hasn't seen the man has to see the man and see. So this is Mars, Utah. The man, the myth. Mars, introduce yourself real quick. Recourier, we're going to get back to you.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, as you said, I'm Mars, Utah, and got into this metaverse through Upland and NFTs in general, but lifelong artist, musician. It goes way back, and this is not the first pseudonym either. So this is a world I'm used to living in, and you see the Block Explorer back there as well. So it's been quite the interesting ride. But as Recourier said, it's the Upland community really harbors a lot of talent. He and I hooked up and started talking about mutual interests, and then LeftHouse and I, that began with the music video for McDuckin and Upix. We had kind of let's say been mutually admiring each other a bit before that, but that was the first thing we worked on.
I'm going to put a link into that for the music video. It's amazing. I had no idea that you did rap music, and it blew my mind. And again, yes, continue, but that was absolutely amazing. And you co-host the Upland Action News. So it's a cat named LeftHouse that's a very eccentric artist, a music recording artist, and then you yourself as recording music. And then somehow you guys do this show together. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, well, the first move, was I reached out to him and said, "Hey, I have this song, and you're making this amazing video footage. So it makes sense that it seems like we're the same kind of weirdo, and we should probably link up on this." And so then we knocked it out of the park, and kind of, I made a few appearances here and there on the news. And then one evening we brainstormed the Coast to Coast Christmas special, which was our very ambitious live 3-hour Christmas party that had many, many guests. My good friend Sam Hoger from The Ultimate Fighter 1, UFC veteran, was in there for a quick take of the Fight Report MMA. And then we rolled right on into the New Year's Eve event, which we decided to pre-record, since a 3-hour live event was such a slog. So we decided to take 12 hours to pre-record that event. So that went way better.
You guys are amazing. I got to say too, it's the first thing that I landed on outside of just poking around in Upland and then getting on Discord. It was that. And I have been so honored to be on the show and to share some of the screen time with you guys, because it's amazing. And for all of you right now that are viewing Mars, Utah, and the cat has a mask on, it's a wrestler mask, don't think that he just put that on. I honestly think that the aliens that put him down here on the earth had that on him when he came into being on the planet Earth. And we're probably going to have to do 3 hours of just Mars, Utah to get into what he's got going on and what he's doing. The one thing I know and people are just frothing. We want to know what's going on with these packs. The stickers just dropped. I don't know if you guys have seen this. For everybody who's watching, these assets are on a digital marketplace called it's waxatomichub.io, wax.atomichub.io. And you can find these guys under MetaForce. And the stickers, you can drop stickers, you can drop NFTs. The stickers that they dropped were little teasers to the characters that are coming out in their comic book. And I want to know all about that and kind of roll right into that and what you guys have coming up, because the mechanics of how NFTs work, you open these, it's otherwise going to a collectible trading card store, baseball, football, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, open these things up, and then you collect these cards. That's the real world, in real life way to do it. This has brought on a whole new world where you're opening digital packs of cards. And then those cards have different attributes in them. You can do things like build cards. You can take 3 cards and build them, and they get destroyed, and then a new one gets created. So all these elements of what these guys are producing are coming out today. We're going to learn new information. Like, this is dropped, never before. Everybody's waiting on it. I do want to roll into that. But as we're scrolling through here, guys, hats off to you guys. Some of these characters, Dr. Relic, Nixus, as I think it is, Malgisto, Blockfather, Chainwreck. I got to tell you guys, I love Chainwreck. It's becoming a favorite. But Hell Camino, get out of here. That's amazing. Again, to your point, T. Davis, LeftHouse, Mix Pilk, I think is what that is. And then the Pantheon, all these things. So tell us about the stickers. Tell us about the drops. Give us some mechanics. I know I'm throwing you guys so many things, but I just can't help it. I'm super, super just blown away.
So all of these characters have different kinds of connections, and what we had talked about is that there is this kind of existential force that is called the essence that exists in these metaverses, right? And so initially we had
watching.
we had the citizens, and those citizens were loosely based on certain things we liked about ourselves or would have preferred about of ourselves or whatever. So we kind of made up these characters, and then they're going to learn how to harness this essence, and it needs to be tied to something called an altar. So there needs to be some kind of thing that unlocks that force. You need all 3 of those things together to then become this champion. And in a lot of ways, it's kind of like the Clark Kent and Superman thing. You've got your normal, everyday guy, and then you've got your champion. And we went with champion instead of hero because everybody uses hero. So we went with champion. It's a little different.
I get it. I like it.
So that is all built into the lore. That is part of the comic book, and that's part of how MetaForce came together. And so that's also going to be part of how the packs and cards are going to work. So you cannot get champions in any of the pack sales.
Okay.
They have to be crafted. And they have to be crafted by taking a citizen card and an altar card. And it has to be the right citizen and the right altar. They have to match up. You can't mix and match. And then an essence card. And the essence cards will be universal. You combine the 3 of those cards, and then that comes out with a champion card. So 100% of the champion cards have to be made through this process, MetaFusion. And that's going to be built right into Atomic Hub. We are partnering with Atomic Hub to do our pack sale and to do our crafting. So you don't have to go anywhere else. Just go to Atomic Hub and you'll be able to do everything there.
That is amazing. So I don't know if anybody knows what the arduous task it is to get on some of these NFT platforms, such as a Nifty or an OpenSea or an Atomic Hub. It's a lot of work, and you can't just call a guy and go, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. No, it takes a lot of back and forth to make this happen. And for you guys to put it together is amazing. I love the building part of this and the crafting part. For anybody who's in Xbox, PS5, those online platforms, those systems, those gaming system, crafting is a huge part in a lot of games like Division, COD, things like that. And you craft and you upgrade your weapons and things of that nature. So this goes right along with that. And I saw that Mars has put up his background. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Those are our champions.
Okay, so now did we not know that these are champions beforehand, and we're just now knowing that these are champions?
So the champion is the moniker for the group or the class or whatever you want to call it. So that has been discussed that they'll be called champions, but this is the first time that we've gotten into the details of how the champions are going to come out, and the first time that we've discussed that you cannot get champions in packs.
God, I'm seeing so many things in here right now. There's like some wet works and influences I see with the character with the the sparks coming off his hand to Mars's right hand, and then chain links, I think is what it is, with the skull and these characters are so rich, and it infuses elements of things that I absolutely love about comic books. So I know before I switch back off of Mars, did you have anything that you wanted to bring up about any of the characters or things that you're excited about, or just anything you want to add?
Yeah, just to follow up kind of on where Recourier, was going there. That was a huge part of our initial discussions, was the way that this mechanic was going to work when we first started hashing out this project. Because, there's so many projects coming out with different burn mechanics and things like that. And, most of it seems to be just to get to that higher rarity, to get to something more exclusive, something more rare. And it also seemed to somewhat devalue other pieces of art. And for me, as an artist, I had a hard time. I really had to chew on that idea for a while on how we could sort out burning cards. And so once the story started flowing and we worked out that mechanic, as he said, where that's just how the story works. These citizens start interacting and building their altar, and the essence shows up and interacts in a somewhat wild fashion, and the champion comes out the other side. And it all, once that all aligned, then, that's really what I think made us dive into this 1,000%.
Look, to have a collaborative group that has in real life responsibilities and to be able to put this all together in a coherent way. The artwork, I gotta say, it's really, really great. So whomever is doing the art, the penciling, inking, it could be all, for all I know, in Photoshop, in Illustrator, but it looks amazing. It's quality characters. And you guys, I'm really blown away, and hats off. This would be something that if it came through my Diamond distribution catalog when I was doing comic books and I came across it, I'd take a look at this and go, okay, I got to order some of these for copies. And I know my customers would have been like, yeah. And to that point, a lot of times when we do this, there's a bunch of rarity stuff that goes on with NFTs, non-fungible tokens, and when you guys release them. So I assume that there could be a rarity level, and then are you guys going to do something like special, like they used to do Chromium in the comic book world, animated GIFs, things of that nature? Recourier, tell us a little bit more about what's coming.
So there's going to be 7 different rarities of the cards. And as you go from common up to collector's edition, they will become much more rare and they will become more dynamic. This is pretty standard in certain ways with the rest of the comic or the rest of the NFT space that's out there, having these rarities that work up. In a lot of collections, you get to the higher rarity by burning the lower rarity, and you never know what's going to end up where and where your numbers are going to end up. And we didn't really want to adopt that system. So what we did is everything is, it's more of building laterally. So when we build this whole setup, we know how many cards of each type we're going to have. We know how the burning mechanisms are going to work. And based on the card types we've selected, we built in some controls on what can and can't be burnt. And we have estimated where we think final card counts are going to come out. And it will get to a point where collectors are going to have to make a decision. Do I want to keep building and keep burning? Do I want to keep these cards? It'll be a very easy decision at first to make, and it will get more difficult as more champions get minted. So to mint a common champion, you're going to need to have the common citizen and the common altar and common essence. And then as each level goes up, same thing. So for you to get the highest level collector's edition, you have to somehow get your hands on a collector's edition citizen, a collector's edition altar, and a collector's edition essence. And you have to decide that you want to burn those to get the collector's edition champion. So we think that those highest rarities are going to be very, very rare. They're going to be very hard for collectors to not only get a hold of, but to also make that decision. Is it worth me doing this? But we didn't want to mess with our counts for commons and uncommons. We've seen some programs and some collections where they didn't get the engagement that they thought they would, and then their rarity levels got all kind of weird, and things got out of order. You won't be able to change your rarity level up and out, but there's no way to get a champion without having to craft it. And we're very confident with the numbers that we've worked out and how we see it all going. I think it's going to have something for everyone. People are going to be able to build out very significant and full collections, but you're going to have to be a very dedicated collector if you want to get everything.
And so I love that. So taking from everything that we've seen from these projects in the past that have come out that are getting really, really big. I think Blockchain Heroes and some of those guys that have done this have all of a sudden they've got these series and these sets, and you try and understand how and what to do with all these things. And then all of a sudden it becomes less of a, I'm in this. This is really cool. I'm dedicated, and I have my favorites. To I just got to make sure I get everything so I don't miss something. And I don't. Nothing against any of those projects, but that's really that makes it more of a job than it is entertainment for me. So yeah. I like that you guys have learned from this and are moving into something that encompasses, hopefully everyone. One of the things that I find that happens is, and it's with this way with Upland, you get into the game, and I even started just 2 months after T Davis, and I feel like he's like a year ahead of me rather than 2 months.
Yep.
When people find MetaForce and they get into this, are they going to have that opportunity to, when they start opening packs and it's 3 months down the line, to still have that kind of participation? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. So this is how we wanted to address both types of collectors. Some people prefer the mint on demand. You are rewarded for being there first. Some people prefer a kind of pre-minted mix-up of all different mint numbers. What we're doing is we're trying to address both audiences. So the packs are going to be distributed essentially in 3 pools. And those 3 pools will have chunks of mint numbers per se. The first pool is going to actually start at mint number 2 and work its way up to a cutoff point. And that cutoff point, whatever percentage of packs are opened up to that cutoff point, that's what those mint numbers will be. So by being the first ones to open packs, you will get a somewhat lower pool of mint numbers that you can get from. The reason we started that on mint 2 is because the mint on demand for the champions. Some people are going to open packs and craft as fast as they can to try and get their mint number 1s, their low mint champions. And what we've seen in some other pack openings is people end up burning mint number 1s, and they're gone forever. And we talked about, well, let's take a whole bunch. Let's take like the first 20 mints and protect them. But there is also the argument that excitement, that nervousness of do I have to make the choice to burn this one or not? That's part of the excitement for some people. So there is a chance that people are going to have to make the decision. Do I burn a mint 2? Do I burn a mint 3? This
is important. For people who are new to this, they're right now they're looking up, they're typing words of definitions to try and understand what you're talking about. We're going to leave some links, and we're going to do some explainers on, at least to get everybody acclimated to what's going on here, so they understand what all this means and how you burn and how you build. But to your very point about being rushed and getting into that and building those cards, I am so grateful that you guys are doing that, and very interested to get deeper into that. Part of that, when you, for the unpackaging, for all of this, I'm going to want you to pick back up where you were. But are these going to be where you buy your packs first and then you get like a day waiting period and then you're opening packs? Is that how it's going to work? Or
there's going to be a small break in between, but it's not going to be measured in days. It's going to be an hour, maybe 2 hours. The issue sometimes with days is that, especially some people that have families and different stuff, if you put it a day apart and it's a Saturday and a Sunday, some people are going to have time making accommodations for both days, and it extends that sprint out. But the argument for not doing it all together is if somebody has a problem with acquiring the packs, then they're screwed out of the low mints. And we want to put a small gap in there that means that you can buy the packs and then you still have the opportunity to do the opening and the crafting, even if you were not the first person that bought it out the pack or whatever. But it's all going to happen on one day. And so then the pack opening and the crafting will happen not too long after the pack purchase. And like I said, that first pool has mint 2 from whatever. The second pool is going to be the only place that you can get mint number 1s. And those are going to be in there. It's going to be a second set of pre-minted numbers. So they will be higher mint numbers that are, according to most people, less valuable than the lower mint numbers. But you're going to want to keep opening packs because that's where your mint number 1s are going to come from. So that second pool that will have the mint number 1s in there will have a bunch of other pre-minted ones. And you will be incentivized to open those second pool packs. And there won't be separate packs. There won't be pool 1 packs and pool 2 packs. It'll matter how many packs have been opened. It'll just move fluidly from one pool to the other. Theoretically, that rush of trying to craft and trying to get your mint number 1s, once a large enough percentage of the packs have been opened, that initial rush, that initial 20 minutes, 2 hours, whatever it ends up being, you've passed that. And then it will be calm enough that people, if they get a mint number 1, now they're going to have that opportunity of that excitement of like, oh my God, I got a mint number 1.
Yeah.
Sometimes with those mint sprints, as they've been come to be called, some people don't even realize they have a mint number 1. Some people may have burned the mint number 1 trying to get the other one, and they don't even realize that they ever had a mint number 1, or they burn it by accident. And that excitement of getting a mint 1, we don't want that lost, and we don't want that burned.
Can you tell the people, because you're talking about mint number 1, I know this happened to you in a Crypto Monkeys session, I think, where you opened some cards. There's like a very special number for you. But if you can, tell us a little bit about why is that? Because you're talking about mint number 1s, and people are like, what are you talking about? But like in comic books, like in collectibles, number 1 is that magic number to get a number 1 because of the value and just by its nature, but also tell us a little bit about why those numbers matter and why somebody would burn something. And by burning it, you're literally destroying it. And then again, to the Crypto Monkeys part as to why that was so disheartening for you. And it could have interrupted a series or a line of things.
Yeah. So the way it happens on chain with non-fungible tokens is the process of minting actually happens linearly. So if you mint a batch of assets, there's one that definitively went first, and those mint numbers are assigned by the order that they were minted. Now, that first minting could be milliseconds before the second minting, but by being mint number 1, it is definitively the first of that thing that was ever in existence. And that is special to a lot of people and important to a lot of people. And there are other people that have other mint numbers that are very important. In the Crypto Monkeys community, it's mint number 19. And a lot of people care very much about that. There was one auction that was had where a mint number 1 and a mint number 19 were both auctioned off, and the mint 19 actually went for a higher price.
Wow.
So people people assign value differently, and it's very difficult to know who's going to value what. It's very common for people to say, mine is 7. I like to collect mint 7s of everything. I know someone whose number is 17. They love 17s. To them, it holds a special value. So those mint numbers are important to people. The one that is most universal, not that it's completely universal, but most universal, is mint number 1. That holds the highest value for a great number of people. And so we did want to protect that, and we wanted to not miss out on the joy of opening a pack and seeing that you got mint number 1 because you're rushing to get some other low mint. So that's what we did it that way. And then the third pool is going to be essentially once we've passed all the pre-mints, and they will be mint on demand. All of our promo packs will draw from that pool. So the promo packs that we'll be giving out to people, you won't be able to get a mint number 1 or a mint number 2 from a promo pack, because sometimes promo packs will go out to places and will not necessarily get opened.
They sit on them.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you bring that up. We're doing something extremely controversial with our packs. Because we believe, at least for the collection that we're making here, we want packs to be open. We want people to get these collectibles, especially Series 1, because Series 1 is going to have a limited run compared to some future series. The way that packs work on chain is that they are, in essence, a placeholder. There's not other cards in the packs, but they function that way. When you go to open a pack, it accesses a smart contract, and that smart contract does whatever it needs to do. Now, in our case, we're setting up pools, and we're doing all these things. These are all custom smart contracts that have to be written for each pack opening. After a period of time, our smart contract will lock. And what that means is that no more packs are going to be able to be opened. If you don't open it by the lock date, that's it. You just have the pack. You cannot get to the cards. And then all of the templates will be locked. And this is a big thing that comes down to some technical issues on collectibles. When you have a collectible set that requires mint on demand, essentially what everybody does is they say that there's no maximum on it. So you have this collector's edition that's supposed to be super duper rare, right? And it says mint 3 of infinity, right? It doesn't feel special. You never know how many are going to be in a set. You never know if 5 years from now, somebody might be sitting on 1,000 packs and they open the 1,000 packs and completely dilute the value of the collectible. All of these things are possible by sitting on packs. And so we didn't want that. We wanted our collectibles, especially our Series 1s, to feel special. You will know after you pass the lock date that there are exactly this many cards in the set, and there will never be any more. There are exactly this many collector's editions. There are exactly this many legendaries. You know where it stands, and you know it will never change. And that, I think, is going to be something really, really special, but really controversial.
What happens to those other packs? What happens to the packs that aren't open then after the lock date?
So those packs will continue to look the same as they've always looked, because all that happens on the smart contract side is you have an image, a pack image. You trade in that image, that gets burned, goes away forever, and then you get issued cards. That's how the pack openings work.
Okay, yes.
So the people who plan to sit on a mint number 1 pack and never open it, it'll be no different to them. They have the mint number 1 pack. That was never ever going to be opened. They were going to sit on that forever, and they'll still be able to. If they were never going to open it anyway, it doesn't matter in a sense that they can't open it now. But what it means is we're going to reach a point, and it's not going to be fast. It's not going to be weeks. It's not going to be months. but it's not going to be years and years and years either. There will be a time in a reasonable amount of time where the Series 1 will be locked and it will be what it will be. And if there are people that have kept packs, they've kept those packs as their own collectible, and that is awesome for those people. They decided they wanted to keep this mint number pack, and no one can take that away from them. The pack doesn't go away. The pack image doesn't go away. Nothing about their NFT changes, except for the fact that they won't be able to burn that NFT for cards. They won't be able to dilute the set.
That's extremely controversial, what you're talking about. It is, and I applaud you guys. It's very brave to do that. I do think that that's going to gain you a little bit of, like why or what? But that's very interesting. So what a brave choice to make.
Yeah. And so that is the plan. And we're going to see how the community responds to it. I don't know that we're going to do that for every series. I don't know that we're not going to do that again in the future. But it is what we're going to do for Series 1. It's going to be a defining moment in NFTs where your highly sought after collectible will be defined and can never be diluted. And I think that that is going to be an important distinction for some collectors. And I think it's great for me, because I can't tell you how many times I feel like, why is this legendary when it can be infinite? There's no limit on the templates. Somebody can get in there in theory and mint 1,000 of them. Now, because of the way the smart contracts work, that's not necessarily true, but you also never know where you're going to stand. Your 1 of 3 might become a 1 of 10. Your mint number 3, that is 3 of 3, could become mint number 3 of 10 and be much less valuable. And you just don't know. And that's not going to be a problem with our Series 1. That it will lock, and there will be a point where everyone knows exactly where they stand, and everyone knows exactly what their value is, and that it will never get diluted. And I think that that's a really interesting approach, because then the only way to go is less cards. If for some reason someone burdens a card, the entire set shrinks. It's almost like a deflationary model. And that, as you know from cryptocurrencies, deflationary models mean as time goes on, it can only get worth more. It's not going to get worth less. It's not going to get diluted.
Yeah, and I think to your credit about that, that's a very, very interesting model and concept. And I am interested to see how that plays out. I like it because it does involve and it engages the buyer, the pack collector, to be more engaged in what's going on. And to that point of doing the collections and having all this, is it just going to be the NFTs, the digital card packs first? When are you going to move this into tangible assets? So that, is there a comic book coming? Are we going to see pulp?
Yes. So 100% there is a comic book. The whole purpose of the collection is there is a comic book. It's more than a comic book. This is going to be a regularly issued comic book series that will be ongoing. The collectibles are there because they're born out of the comic book. They're born out of the lore of the comic book, and they are there to support the comic book. But the comic book is truly what we are making here. We have right now between 1.5 years and 2 years worth of comic books fundamentally plotted out with storylines and written. We have stuff that we know this is going to come to fruition in issue 5 or 7 or 9. We have laid out longer term collaborations with other properties. We have built what we consider the MCU of comic books. We know what we're doing in 2023 right now.
Wow.
And we are building towards that. They are going to be full-length comic books, digital. No one has really figured out how to do long-form NFTs yet. And we are building that technology. We are figuring out how to do long form NFTs. We're working directly with the Wax developers. We're working directly with Jonah, and we are working with people that have worked with other long form digital assets, but not NFTs. And so that's why the comic books are going to lag a little bit after the collectibles, because it's going to be a new technology and we're going to build that new technology. But when you go to the MetaForce website, much like any other DApp, you'll log in with your wallet and you'll have an inventory. But what's going to happen is when you open up your comic book, it's going to come up as an e-reader style where you can flip through the pages and you can read the comic book comfortably. And we are going to have multiple different levels of comic books, different rarities, and some will be static, and some may not necessarily be just static images. They may be more complex than that while remaining a page turner. And so we're taking a big swing at this. How do you make a dynamic NFT that's comfortable to read full screen and works like an e-reader? And we're going to figure it out. We have a vision and we have what we believe is a path forward to solve those problems, and we're building it. We think it's going to be sometime this summer, and the reason we can't give you an exact date is first we've got to build it, then we've got to beta test it, and then we've got to make sure that when we give this to customers, it works 100% first time. And so that is our goal. That is what we are trying to do, and we believe that we've figured it out. We think we've got a really solid plan together for making it happen, but it's going to take a little time to do it. All that time that we're building the technology, we are still writing the comic books. We are still building the lore. We are still building our collaborations together. All of that is happening as well.
I think there's the people that are watching this right now. When you said that part where it's the e-reader style, everybody went back to Tom Hanks and Big and went, "Oh my God, that's it. It's the pitch that he pitched in that movie, that it is the e-reader comic book that's coming like all these years later to fruition. You guys are actually doing that. That's mind-blowing. That is very, very cool. The comic books to digital platform has existed for some time, but you're talking about this long form NFT. That is extremely interesting. And I hope everybody understands how amazing what you're dropping on everybody right now is really kind of a roadmap for MetaForce and what you're doing. And in terms of having this plotted out over a 3-year period of time, I would hope that Uplando the detective has a first appearance in one of these, having to as they investigate what the hell is going on in the MetaForce. I can't see where that wouldn't be a thing, right?
We have a lot of opportunity for connecting into metaverses. This whole metaverse term is the blending and the blurring of lines between the real world and the digital space. It is our plan to work with people, and there are going to be some characters that have some kind of basis on people in real life. There are going to be some characters that are completely created out of thin air, and there's not going to need to be a massive distinction between them. Everything is going to exist together. Everything's going to move fluidly. We have collaborations and partnerships lined up with multiple metaverse properties, and think of how in Marvel, there or even DC, there's this idea of multiverses and things moving from one to the other, and mechanics. All of these things are on our mind. All of these types of complex and interesting storylines that come from that mechanic are going to be available to us, and we are investigating them. We want this to not be a one-off. None of us, we've been talking about this for well over 6 months now. This is not a one and done. We want to build a brand that is going to be lasting and is going to be talked about in the future. So
Yeah, the art is obviously there. I can't express enough how people who are interested in this project and wanting to know and learn more about it. We're going to drop this. Of course, we're all a part of the Upland verse, the metaverse that is there, and the Discord that belongs there. And I think we forget that we exist outside of that game that we're all in and that we play, and that there's a lot of other mediums to get your information out and across. Can you tell us what you're going to do going forward? Do you have your own Discord server and you're going to start from there and you're going to be talking with people, YouTube channels? Tell the folks at home how they can plug into you digitally.
Okay, so MetaForceComics.io is our website, and that has links to pretty much everything. That all of our social media are linked there. We have MetaForce Comics as a Twitter handle, and so you can find us there. And we have a Telegram, t.me/MetaForce Comics, and we have a Discord, discord.metaforcecomics.io. Again, you can get to all of those from the website, and they all can connect to each other. That's your main way of getting hold of us and getting part of the community. Just MetaForce Comics at pretty much anywhere. Discord, Telegram, Twitter, MetaForce Comics is what you're looking for. And then I have just really started up a streaming channel on YouTube, mostly to help support some of these projects, including MetaForce, and how to get information out there. So I will be doing some semi-regular AMAs. There is a channel in the Discord where you can pop in there and list up AMA questions. And once in a while, I don't know, depends how fast questions come, but when it looks like there's a good list of questions there that are ready for being answered, we'll shoot off an AMA. And, maybe I'll do it myself. Maybe we'll have Mars or LeftHouse or T. Davis on. It'll depend a little bit on the subject matter, but that you can get to from recouriercrypto.com. And we may formalize a MetaForce Comics more formal YouTube or something in the future, but we don't have one specifically yet. So I'm just using my own channel so that we can get the information out there. And then we're going to continue to do interviews like this one and on other podcasts that are familiar in the NFT space.
Well, we are just absolutely thrilled to have you at KCBC. We are a not-for-profit, as it is now, group that started in 2012, and we do nothing but information, education. We help people understand and learn what's coming in the crypto space. We do everything we can for them not to get scammed out of their hard earnings and to understand how they can leverage crypto and let it work for them. And you've done an amazing job at explaining everything that's MetaForce and what's coming up. I can't thank you enough for dropping all that information. I mean, this is new information that's coming out. And what I want to do now is I'm gonna flip it over to Mars. And again, like I was saying before, I want to make Recourier extremely anxious for Utah to drop information that he shouldn't be dropping and tell us some things about what he's got going on. Because again, Mars Utah, when I first came across him, was one of the first times, and it may have been I think it was some kind of tour or something they were doing. It's amazing what they do, and what Mars Utah does, and is probably one of the most polarizing and standout characters in Upland because of the mask. I only know the luchadors and things of that nature. Wrestling is huge, near and dear to my heart. I did the Saturday, Sunday morning wrestling. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mars Utah.
Yes, yeah. Well, thank you for that. That introduction. It is. I do like to stand out a little bit in the metaverse. I've, like I said, I've been a musician and an artist and all over the place. And one of my personal mottos has always been, you might not like me, but you'll never forget me. So we always try to nail that one.
What's like the special thing for you, Mars? What in this is like near and dear to your heart? And what do you hope for the future of MetaForce? And tell me what it is that really gets you going on this.
Yeah, well, maybe, the best place to start here, since Recourier has done such a great job with, the tech side and everything, is just to kind of break the team down as well.
Yes.
And, there is, between T. Davis, Recourier, LeftHouse, and myself, we are all very visible members of Upland for sure. And also, fairly visible in the NFT community. But the unsung hero, and the one who none of this would be possible without is our other partner and my, best friend in real life as well, ADK Original. So he is doing all of the finishing art on this. Maybe the label I would give myself is director of imagination, probably. Nice. Where he is the one. It works for all these guys, actually. Maybe T. Davis gets a little bit of a break on this, but I tend to come up with ideas that I can't do by myself. And then someone else ends up getting sucked into helping me figure it out. Whether it's, all the things with MetaForce that Recourier's, been diving into the wax end and, all the amazing things that you've just heard and the complexity of that, my brain can't fathom on its own. There's the music videos and different things that LeftHouse helps me out with, and neither one of us could really coexist without the other, and a lot of the things we do there. And it's to the millionth degree with ADK Original. He and I have been doing comic books and stories and art for more than 2/3 of our lives together. He's my personal tattoo artist, tag team wrestling partner, amongst many other things. And so we definitely want to give him enough credit. I come up with, a lot of the story writing, once we get a lot of the stuff down. But then that concept art from where I hand it off to ADK Original to what he comes back with is just mind blowing.
That's interesting. So a tattoo artist, was that his foray into art, or was he always been a doodler and then that just progressed? I mean, some people are just gifted with that ability to have that frenetic eye, to be able to take a piece of creativity from their mind and put it on paper. I can't do that, but like yourself, I always want to come up with the maybe the background or the story or something of a character. So is that where he started, just from tattoo art or other?
No, he and I both, way before we could ever legally get or give tattoos, spent a lot of time sitting around his mother's kitchen table, drawing and creating comics. And it was the same vibe back then. He's always been just a natural artist and, for sure a few steps above me in the final product output. But we work together creatively well, and I tend to come up with the crazy schemes and ideas. And even if I can't put them into words, they come out of his pencil. And that's been our dynamic for quite some time. He moved into tattoo art as well, amongst, other things. And, it's just been a lifelong path, but this has been our passion since day one.
This is amazing. And so some of the things that I'm seeing behind me, is this all of his artwork? And the other question that I have for him, he's not here to defend himself, for God love him, because you're here to help do all that. But does he have a Rob Liefeld foot problem where he can't draw a certain thing?
It is a love-hate relationship, and we do know all about the Liefeld jokes. We tried to keep the pouches to a minimum. But,
I see some pouch.
Yeah, there are some pouches. So where our influences lie. We love the era, the Jim Lee, the Rob Liefeld, just that whole era. Some of the art is technically both of ours. I do some of the inking as well, especially on the altars. A few of those are mostly my original art. So it really is an absolute mesh when it comes to the way that he and I work together. We share files back and forth. I need you to do some penciling on this because you're better than me. So why don't you send me that one that I can ink, because I can get that done. And that we work like one person to handle the workload.
That's amazing. And I know right now that everybody who's got my unfortunate brain to think to entertain ourselves wants to make a comment about the tracing and the inker comment there, but you don't do that with a guy in a mask. You don't make those kind of comments to being a tracer and an inker to a guy in a mask. But I love I love what you guys are doing with this. And I really, the depth that you have gone to, the color that you have brought to this and the shading and what's going on here with these characters is absolutely stunning. And I cannot wait to see this as an NFT and to what the comic books, to what they bring and what you have for that. I don't know. I know you were off screen there a little bit back before Recourier, before you came back in, that Recourier was talking about that recurring spot that Uplando the detective is going to have in the series. I understand that's what we talked about. So
I believe that could definitely happen. The plan, as we do all brainstorm the path, but I kind of do take the lead writer role, I suppose, here, and I have planned that out quite a bit. And the storyline of MetaForce is protecting all of the metaverses. So as we travel around, we're going to encounter and add characters, and it is going to be quite a journey, and we're definitely going to pick up some recurring characters, and who knows, maybe we add some team members, and it is quite the crew. So you put a lot of time and effort into properly naming and creating this crew that you see behind me.
The stickers are out now. If you don't know what those are, it's in the NFT world. The stickers are kind of the promo things. It's a little bit different. These aren't a moving part of the NFTs. As I understand it, stickers are just stickers. They're just like that. They don't have a moving gift part quality to them.
In general, it's not boxed in. Quite literally, right? Okay. It's the outline of the character, and that's the edge of the NFT, and it's transparent aside from that. So it's not in a card, it's not in a book, it's not in anything. It's just like how a sticker would be in real life. They're not in a box and you stick it on something. You peel out the sticker and it's the outline of that thing. So the term that
let's go to this. Let's go through some of the characters, and Mars, jump in when you want to. So the first one I'm just going in the order that I see them in, and it's a Dr. Relic. Okay. And he's holding, it looks like could be a hedgehog, a notable hedgehog in a trap, in a live trap.
Yes. Yeah. He is the first character from the Federation of Evildoers, the evildoer, or the Fed. He is a very, very evil character. And he is on a mission to stop blockchain gaming and continue gaming only on Relic console systems.
What an evildoer he is. What an evildoer he is then. And then the Nixis, N-I-N-X-I-S. Tell us about the Nixis.
Yes, well, he is a champion. So, as you see there, the way the story works, we have our 5 citizens and the 5 altars. As we explained, they interact with the essence and then become the champion. So, we'll start with, that is Mixplick, who is a fellow Uplander, data specialist that used to run the Daily Uplander, wizard on the blockchain and with data. And he is also, owns the new Mint, the new U.S. Mint in San Francisco.
Wow.
And so he was, had an encounter with the essence while building the Mint. And the creature that you see there, known as Nexus, is the result of that interaction.
Interesting. And then we move on to, am I saying, I know I'm probably butchering these names, Malgisto?
That is Magisto.
Yes.
So that citizen is our good friend LeftHouse. And as he gets to constructing the beautiful Upland Action News headquarters, if something goes haywire with the essence and LeftHouse, and we get the magical phone booth that you see there.
Ah.
And somehow through that interaction, we end up with Magisto.
Interesting.
And just some background there. It's that is, Magisto means magic in Esperanto, which is the universal language, which is fitting for our master of media, LeftHouse, to be named in the universal language.
Awesome. And I see, he reminds me, that character reminds me.
Cyclops has the visor.
X-Men. This is a very colorful and very like very good character. He seems like he's in it for good, but that just he could be like the nutty professor and then kind of all of a sudden do something and be like, oh, whoops, I did that. It's very interesting. I'm very interested in his superpowers. I've never quite seen that. The colors and the mixture and what he's got going on in his hand looks very cool.
You're saying he gives you a very LeftHouse vibe then?
Yes, it does. Which is a good vibe. I'm telling you, man, it's a good vibe. That's the happy pill in human form for real. The Blockfather. Tell us about Blockfather.
Yeah, so here we have T. Davis as our citizen, and as you know, he goes hand in hand with Little Italy. And his home base is Umberto's Clam House, the famed mafia hangout in Little Italy. And as he gets to constructing that in his metaverse, it's there's the interaction with the essence, and we end up here with the Blockfather.
I see that.
He is not holding a pipe. He is actually interacting with his very special piece of nanotech, the Fangul pinky ring, which is activated with the very famous hand signal.
That's amazing. Okay, I saw something else. It's another character that we're getting to, and it's not a pipe, it's a wrench. I apologize.
Okay.
This is so great to get background on these characters. Chainwreck. People have been really kind of going off the chain on Chainwreck. It's been extremely positive. I like this character. It's a blend of what I said, like Exo Man of War and Boba Fett with some like dystopian like gas mask thing going on. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so our citizen for that one is this fellow that we may know, Recourier. And
wow, that's Recourier. You get out of here.
And if you've encountered Recourier in Upland or any of his other logos, you see that he has a love for a pretty mean 68 El Camino.
The Hell Camino. I saw the Hell Camino. We're going to look at that a little bit later. I can't believe Recourier did so well to keep a straight face when I was boasting about this character. Mars, go on.
Yeah, so Recourier gets to tuning up the Hell Camino in the metaverse and creating that, and the essence once again runs haywire, and out the other side we have this champion Chainwreck who protects the metaverse while behind the wheel of the Hell Camino.
I have got to take a ride in the Hell Camino. When we meet in real life, whenever that happens, I'm sure this is all going to happen at Upland Con or Metaverse Con or MetaForce Con. Oh my God. That's so great. All right. I can't help it.
And, before we move on from that character, I just have to point out that the art on the Hell Camino done by ADK Original is about as realistic as you can get. At first, I thought he sent me a photograph just to be a jerk, but turns out that's original art, and it is absolutely amazing.
Oh, it's absolutely sick. If anybody's looking at it right now, it is super cool. A buddy of mine had an El Camino. Actually, two friends of mine had El Caminos in high school when I was in high school. So this is near and dear, right, straight up to my heart about the Hell Camino. That's so good. All right, so Wardrop. Tell us about Wardrop.
Yeah, so that brings us to, myself, Mars, Utah. And
what?
Since day one, well, I shouldn't say day one, but very soon after I got into Upland, I discovered my beloved Buena Vista.
Yes.
You've taken a few listens to the McDuckin and Optics. I thought myself Mr. Buena Vista. And the lovely Venus, Utah, and myself have set up shop with 4 large parcels on the top of Mount Olympus, Buena Vista. And that will be the home base. And our plan has always been to build the Pantheon on the top of Mount Olympus.
I love that. We've got 2 properties there. I'm a neighbor. I am a neighbor in that, but that is amazing that you've done that. So that's going to be some amazing building. You have a lot of properties there, so you'll be able to combine those and build them together.
Yeah, I have 4 large ones, and there are lots of plans that are going to be going on the top of Mount Olympus. So it could be a very interesting area in the near future.
To that character Wardrop, I feel like you took everything you've ever loved and you put it into that character.
You hit the nail on the head.
That is amazing. I can't. There's so many things about these characters that we can't see yet that we're going to. And okay, so I continue to go. I want to get some more of the characters. So Mixplix, tell us about Mixplix. What is he holding there? Oh, is it a books? Those are books.
Yeah, he's got some books. He's the information specialist and the blockchain specialist, and so he's the one who has the most intense interaction with the essence, as you can see from what comes out the other side.
I see. And so on these other characters, these stickers are literally there. As you name two things, where they're the normal citizens like LeftHouse, T. Davis, Recourier, and of course yourself, Mars, Utah. And then we were looking at the champion version of those. Is that what we were doing?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
It's so good, guys. And I want to point out a couple buildings. Umberto's, of course. Is that like the meeting place? Is that where the normal citizens go to have their coffee and whatnot? Is that what that is? Am I wrong?
Well, that is just T. Davis's chosen home base.
Okay.
I don't know if you know the history of it, but there's a Crazy Joe was the victim of a mafia hit in that, and it became somewhat of a mafia landmark and bizarre tourist attraction in Little Italy, and that is now the head of T. Davis Central. So that is his altar that he chose to build that causes his interaction.
And I see, of course, the phone booth, which is great. We're going to show the phone booth, and then I do see this the San Francisco Mint and the Pantheon. And this is amazing. There's so many cool things to this right now, and I love the fact that you've got these backstories for these characters, and the stickers are available. Everything that we talked about and you've just seen on screen is available right now at Atomic Assets. It's wax.atomichub.io. They are a part of the MetaForce. The collection name is MetaForce. The author is MetaForce. You guys should definitely check this stuff out. A lot of people think that just this all of a sudden you dreamt this and it came into fruition overnight. But this is lifelong. And I share your enthusiasm, both of you, for what you're doing here. Any final words, Recourier, for this, the amazing chain wreck in this metaverse?
I'm really excited to start to bring the characters to life. I mean, it is really cool what we have right now. I love what we've come up with. I love the lore that we've come up with. I love the backstory. I can't wait to have the characters live in the comic books. And that's what I think makes having an actual long-term recurring comic book series that's going to be different than a lot of other collectibles that we have, because there's lots of stuff out there that I love and I own and I think is great, but you get the card and then you get a little couple sentences on the back. Here's this guy's like whatever. And then that's it. And then the creators will talk about it a little bit, but that's what you're left with. And in this case, like, these characters are going to be characters. They're going to be real. They are going to have personalities. They are going to develop. And now, people that have lived through comic books all of this time, when they talk about the characters, yes, they're like, well, I like this, what this guy looks like. I like what that guy looks like. But the other half of the time, they're like, I like this guy for a guy. I like his personality. I like how Tony Stark is in a story. I like how he, has these little one-off fun little comments and all these different things. That's where people are going to connect. They're going to find the character that represents them. And some of those characters will be citizens. Some of those characters will be champions, and some of those characters will be even evildoers. And maybe some of those will be a phone booth. Who knows? But that's what I want, and that's what I like. I want to bring a set of characters to life so that they are alive. They are real personalities that people care about and interact with. And when they see the next comic book, they want to know what happens to this guy. It's not just a card. It's not just a collectible. I want people to be able to take that enjoyment that we took not only when we were younger, but now when we read through a comic book, when we connect to a comic book movie, that stuff can be really important and really powerful for people. And we have all kinds of people in MetaForce, and we're going to interact with all kinds of different metaverses and all kinds of different people. And I really hope that there is something for everyone in the MetaForce series.
Yeah, and I was going to say to that, because I didn't see any spotlight. It's not that these guys don't have it coming, because I know that they do. So, from Wonder Woman to Domino from the X-Men, Jean Grey, Harley Quinn, Black Widow, it goes on and on and on, of the females in comics. So I'm so curious as to how you bring that into the story and the relationships and the complexity of what happens there. Mars, anything on your last words?
Yeah, well, I'll follow right there with you because, part of this, also as Recourier said, it's going to be a long-term story that does travel around, and we have it planned out until, well into 2023 at this point with a story arc on our planned release dates for comics. And these stories are just, I can't wait to get them out there. I'm chomping at the bit here. And, I do always have the lovely Venus by my side. So, I'm sure she will be making some appearances here, and quite a few of the Red Planet ladies. But, this first release, it's your classic comic book story. You had a crew of guys that met up in a video game. And so here's the kickoff crew,
Guys, it's been absolutely it's been a thrill to have you guys on here. So I really, really champion this project. I had no idea that from what I had seen, I knew that it had some depth to it, but I had no idea that it was this far into it and that you guys were this together and had it going. Not that you wouldn't have been, but it's really special. I wish you guys the best of luck. Please look these guys up. They are normal characters or characters nonetheless in Upland, a decentralized application where we all float around over little pieces of land and trying to make those our own. There is some commerce that's happening inside of Upland. There are going to be some business models that come out very soon. And I know these guys are going to have their wares, as it were, in that commerce model. And come and join us in there. You want to be a part of a good community. For everybody that's watching this at Kansas City Bitcoin Cryptocurrency, thank you so much for tuning in. Everybody else that's come along from Upland, crypto, NFT communities, thank you so much for viewing this. Thank you guys again so much for being on. It has been Recourier, Mars, Utah, and Uplando.